Hi reader friends, it's Vanessa from The Cozy Chapter, and I just read 7 new release holiday romances in 7 days, so I can tell you which one you should read first. I rated each of these books with an overall star rating, a Christmas rating, and a spice rating. I know that my overall rating is going to be subjective, so I want to give you some additional elements in order to judge. I read some amazing books, so let's get into it. The first book I read for this was Holiday Ever After by Hannah Grace. This is about Clara and Jack. So Clara is this city girl who works for her parents' big toy company. Jack is this small town guy and he is a carpenter. He creates this toy that goes viral, and the toy is created by him and supported by all different people throughout the town. And Clara's family's toy company, they come and visit him and strike up a deal with him to support him, but it ends up being they just end up stealing his toy. And someone from the town posts something on social media which gives Clara's family's toy company a lot of bad publicity. So Clara is tasked with going there and just helping and supporting the town and trying to fix this and get them to take the video down. This story takes place over the holiday season and all the holiday elements are amazing. I enjoyed the story a lot. I think one of the most unique or most interesting parts of the story was that our city girl was not your typical like grumpy city girl hates the small town. I really like that she was kind and she really seems to enjoy the small town. Overall, I gave this book 3.5 stars, 4 for a Christmas rating, and 3 for spice. Next up is Good Spirits by B.K. Borison. And this is about Nolan, who is the ghost of Christmas past, and Harriet, who is an antique shop owner, and Nolan is going to go and haunt her. And so this is a paranormal romance, and I gotta say, B.K. Borison did a good job with this one. I really, really enjoyed it. So typically, if you haunt someone, they're more of like a Scrooge character, but Harriet is not a Scrooge character. She seems like a good person. So throughout the story, you're gonna unwrap and unravel why she's been chosen to be haunted. I love this story. It made me wanna buy matching Christmas pajamas. If you know, you know. I gave this book 5 stars. I gave it 5 on the Christmas rating and 3 on the spice scale. Next up, we have Merry Christmas, You Filthy Animal by Megan Quinn. And it has been some years since I've read a Megan Quinn, and I don't know why, because this book was fantastic. I loved it. Now, I'm gonna preface that with saying Megan Quinn has some crude humor, so if that's not your style, this is not gonna be for you because it is throughout the book. But I didn't mind, and oftentimes I thought it was hilarious. So this is about Max, whose family owns a Christmas tree farm, and Betty, who moves next door and is living on her uncle's land, and they're going to build a competing Christmas tree farm. There's obviously a little bit of an enemies to lovers element there. This whole town is completely based around Christmas. Every single place in it has a Christmas type theme. It was hilarious. It was spicy. I absolutely devoured this one. This one was over 400 pages and that was perfectly fine with me. I really enjoyed it. This is the second in the series. How My Neighbor Stole Christmas is the first one, which I hadn't read, but I wanted to read the new release one to give you guys an idea of what's coming out this season. I probably will go back and read that one, hoping that it's just as funny as this one. But I will say this, if you want to read this series, I would start with the first one. I felt like there were a lot of giveaways in here. I gave this book 4.5 stars, 5 Christmas trees, and a 4 on the spice scale. You Make It Feel Like Christmas by Sophie Sullivan. This is about Maisie and Nick, and this is a second chance romance story. And the story takes place on a Christmas tree farm. Maisie goes to stay at this Christmas tree farm the week before Christmas, and she's staying there with some family and some friends, and Nick shows up, which is a man she met 6 months ago at a wedding. They connected greatly and they ended up having a one-night stand, but Nick just left her and never spoke to her again. Both of them had a strong connection and have thought about each other a lot since. I feel like this book left a lot on the table, and I will say it's a second chance romance, but it didn't have a dual timeline. Since it didn't have a dual timeline, I just wasn't invested in the romance. So when the relationship started to develop, I was just like, what? Why? Like, it just didn't make sense to me. So I think this book could have done a lot better with the dual timeline. I feel like there are a lot of things with the family dynamics that could have gone deeper, especially on Nick's side. I ended up giving it 2.5 stars. I gave it 4 for the Christmas rating. There's a big portion of this book that doesn't take place during Christmas, and this is a closed door romance, so whatever you want to call that on the spice scale. I never thought I would read another book in this series, but I wanted to read some of the most popular romances that are coming out this holiday season, so I went for the Gingerbread Bakery. If you don't know, this is the 5th in the Dream Harbor series, the first one being the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. And I just was very underwhelmed by that book. I was expecting it to just be more interesting and to be more fall. This is a second chance romance about Annie and Mac, and she owns the Gingerbread Bakery in town, and they are both in the wedding of the 2 main characters from the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. This is a second chance romance with a dual timeline, and especially just coming off a book that I read that didn't have a dual timeline, this one maybe got a few extra points for having it. And I really enjoyed it, and I started really getting invested in their characters, and I started getting invested in their story. I ended up giving it 3 stars. It's probably a little bit generous. I think if you enjoy the Dream Harbor series, you're really going to enjoy this one because it is the wedding of the first main characters, and all the other characters from the other books were shouted out in here. I was surprised I gave it such a high rating, 3 stars. I gave it 4 on the Christmas scale. It's really about a wedding, but it definitely does take place during the holiday season, and I gave this one a 3 for spice. Yours for the Season by Emily Stone. This is another second chance romance story with a dual timeline. That is the key. If you have read a second chance romance that didn't have a dual timeline and it was good, let me know in the comments below, because I'd like to know. I can't think of any right now. This is about Mel and Finn. Finn shows up at her house after them breaking up 6 months prior at his sister's engagement party, and asks her to come along with him to the Scottish Highlands for his family's Christmas vacation. And of course she decides to, because who wouldn't, right? So obviously they begin to rekindle their relationship. This takes place in the week before Christmas. It feels very Christmassy. It also feels very real with all the family dynamics. I like this one a lot. I gave it 4 stars. I gave it 5 for the Christmas rating, and I gave it a 2 for spice. Finally, I ended on a perfect note. This was my favorite book out of all of them. Grace and Henry's Holiday Movie Marathon by Matthew Norman. And first, shout out to it being a man who wrote a romance novel. This is about Grace and Henry, who are both widowers. And in January of the year the story takes place, they both lose their spouses. Right before the holiday season starts, they meet and they immediately connect. They both are sharing this very traumatic experience. This book is divided up in sections, each one being a different holiday movie. And I kind of expected that to be a little bit more central role in the story, meaning the movie watching would be more of a central role, but this book is about a lot more than that. Grace is your more boisterous, strong woman who owns a bar, and Henry is kind of a more sensitive man. I really enjoyed the contrast between these 2 characters. And Grace has 2 children. Henry doesn't have any children. The children add an excellent element to this story. My favorite part about this was the humor. It is incredibly difficult, the experience that these characters are going through, but the humor in this story really felt real to me. It really felt like the way people might deal with such difficult circumstances. I cried, I laughed, I enjoyed it, I devoured it. I give it 5 stars without a doubt. I give 4 on the Christmas rating. There's no spice in this one. After reading 7 new release holiday romances in 7 days, the big question is, will I ever read a Christmas romance again? Yes. Immediately after finishing Grace and Henry's holiday romance, I picked up another Christmas book. I just absolutely adored devouring these books. It was so much fun and something I think I would definitely do again. If you made it this far, comment down below the Christmas books that you are reading this season or a Christmas related emoji. Thanks so much for watching.